The combat arena of the Galactic Military Academy fell completely silent. Not the kind of silence that happens when a teacher walks into a noisy classroom, but the heavy, shocked silence that comes when everyone has just witnessed something they can't quite believe. Emily Brooks stood in the center of the fighting ring, breathing hard but steady. Around her lay 3 opponents, not dead, of course, the Academy didn't allow that, but definitely out of the fight. One was a Thorian, a species known for their rock-hard skin and incredible strength. Another was a Velix, whose people had reflexes so fast they could dodge laser fire. The third was a Krant warrior, and the Krants had been winning military conflicts for the past 500 years. All 3 had lasted less than 3 minutes against the human girl. Emily wiped the sweat off her forehead with the back of her hand and rolled her shoulders. Her dark hair had come loose from its tie during the fight, hanging messily around her face. She looked tired but not particularly worried, like someone who had just finished a hard workout rather than defeated 3 of the Academy's top fighters. The other cadets whispered among themselves. Most of them had never seen a human fight before Emily arrived at the Academy 6 months ago. Humans were new to the galactic community, their planet only discovered a few years back. Earth was classified as a Class 12 Deathworld, which meant it was one of those rare planets where basically everything was dangerous and trying to kill you. Most species avoided Deathworlds entirely. But seeing a Deathworlder fight in person was something else entirely. Instructor Vax made his way down from the observation platform. He was massive, easily 9 feet tall, with blue-gray skin that looked like it had been carved from stone. 4 golden eyes sat in his angular face, and when he moved, every muscle seemed to flow with practiced precision. His species, the Dreth, had been the military backbone of the galaxy for thousands of years. They wrote the textbooks on combat. They trained the trainers. He walked slowly around Emily, studying her like she was a puzzle he couldn't solve. His eyes traced the way she stood, the way her weight shifted, the slight tremor in her hands that came from pushing her body hard. He had trained thousands of warriors over his long career. He knew every fighting style in the known galaxy, had studied ancient techniques from civilizations that had died out long before humans had even discovered fire. But this? This was different. Cadet Brooks, Vax said finally, his voice deep and resonant. I have been teaching combat for 97 of your Earth years. I have seen Krant battle masters, Thorian strongmen, Velix speed fighters, and warriors from 100 other worlds. He stopped in front of her, all 4 eyes fixed on her face. Your technique is unconventional. It is brutal. It is messy. He paused. It is also remarkably effective. Emily said nothing, just waited. She had learned in her months at the Academy that alien instructors like to talk. A lot. You do not fight like someone trained in any formal discipline, Vax continued. You break stances. You ignore proper form. You use tactics that should not work, and yet somehow they do. His head tilted slightly, a gesture of genuine curiosity. You fight like someone who learned in actual combat, not in a training hall. Like someone who has been fighting their entire life. Some of the other cadets moved closer, interested now. A few of them had tried to be friendly with Emily when she first arrived, but she was quiet, kept to herself mostly. The humans were still strange to most of the galaxy. They smiled too much, laughed at weird times, and seemed to form emotional bonds way too quickly. But watching her fight? That commanded respect. So tell me, Vax said, and there was genuine interest in his voice now, not just the formal tone of an instructor. Who taught you to fight like this? What master trained you? What warrior took a young human and turned her into what you are now? Emily looked up at him. For a moment, she seemed like she might not answer. Then a small smile crossed her face, the kind of smile that comes from remembering something funny. My 6-year-old sister, mostly, she said. The silence that followed was different from before. This wasn't shocked silence. This was the silence of complete disbelief. Someone in the crowd of cadets laughed, thinking it was a joke. The laughter died quickly when they saw Emily wasn't smiling anymore, just waiting patiently for the next question. Vax's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of confusion in his species. Your sister? A child? Yeah, Emily said, shrugging. Lily. She's 6 now. Was 4 when she really started beating me up regularly. She said it so casually, like she was talking about the weather. Vax looked at the 3 defeated opponents still being helped out of the arena. He looked back at Emily. His expression suggested he was reconsidering everything he thought he knew about human development. You are telling me, he said slowly, carefully, that a human child, a 6-year-old, taught you combat techniques that just defeated 3 of this academy's finest warriors. Well, not on purpose, Emily admitted. But yeah, basically. The arena erupted in noise. Cadets shouting questions, instructors demanding explanations, everyone talking at once. Emily just stood there, looking slightly uncomfortable with all the attention, waiting for everyone to calm down so she could explain. Emily sat in her quarters that night, staring at the ceiling while her alien roommate snored in a pattern that sounded like a broken air conditioner. She couldn't sleep. The day's events kept playing in her mind, especially the looks on everyone's faces when she mentioned Lily. They didn't understand. How could they? Most of them grew up on worlds where the biggest danger was tripping over a smooth rock or maybe getting a mild sunburn. Earth was different. Earth was classified as a Class 12 death world, which was a fancy way of saying that almost everything on the planet was actively trying to kill you. She thought back to her childhood home in Colorado. It seemed peaceful if you didn't know better. Mountains in the distance, pine trees everywhere, wildlife roaming around. Beautiful, really. But those mountains had bears and mountain lions. Those trees housed spiders the size of your hand. Even the weather could kill you if you weren't careful. Blizzards in winter, lightning storms in summer, tornadoes if you were unlucky. And that was considered one of the safer parts of Earth. Humans grew up learning to be careful, to be aware, to always have a plan for when things went wrong. Because things always went wrong eventually. It made humans paranoid by galactic standards, but it also made them survivors. But Lily? Lily was a whole different kind of survival challenge. Emily smiled, remembering. Her little sister had been born angry at the world, or at least that's what their mom always said. She came out screaming and pretty much never stopped. While other kids her age were playing with dolls or building blocks, Lily was figuring out how to climb onto the kitchen counter to steal cookies from the supposedly unreachable jar. Their first real fight happened when Lily was 4 and Emily was 12. Emily had been watching TV, some show she'd been waiting all week to see. Lily walked in, grabbed the remote without asking, and changed the channel to her cartoons. "Hey, I was watching that," Emily had said, reaching for the remote. Lily held it away. "My show's on now. You can watch it later. I was here first." "Don't care." That's when Emily made her first mistake. She assumed that being bigger and older meant she'd automatically win. She reached over to take the remote, figuring Lily would just give up. Instead, Lily bit her arm. Not a playful nibble. A full-on chomp that left teeth marks for 3 days. Emily yelped and pulled back. Lily used that moment to scramble up onto the couch, holding the remote above her head like a trophy. "My TV time," she announced, completely satisfied with herself. That was just the beginning. Over the next few years, Emily and Lily fought over everything. Who got the last piece of pizza? Who had to do which chores? Who got to sit in the front seat of the car? Whose turn it was on the family computer? Who left their stuff on the stairs? Whose fault it was that the dog got loose? Everything became a battle. And Lily never, ever fought fair. She was smaller, younger, and weaker, so she got creative. She'd pull hair when Emily tried to pin her down. She'd go for the eyes if she was losing. She learned early that screaming really loud would make Emily hesitate, worried that their parents would come running and they'd both get in trouble. She'd use pressure points she'd somehow figured out, usually by accident but then remembered for next time. The neighborhood kids used to gather in the Brooks' backyard to watch when Emily and Lily really got into it. No formal rules, no referee, just two sisters who absolutely refused to lose to each other. Other parents were horrified. The Brooks parents figured it was character building, as long as nobody ended up in the emergency room. Emily remembered one fight in particular, when Lily was 5. They were fighting over the last chocolate chip cookie. Emily had grabbed it first, but Lily wanted it. Instead of just accepting defeat, Lily had implemented what Emily later recognized as a multi-stage tactical assault. Stage 1, Negotiation. "Can I have half?" Lily asked sweetly. "No, I got it first," Emily said, already taking a bite. Stage 2, Psychological Warfare. "Mom said we should share," Lily lied smoothly. "Mom's not even home." "Nice try." Stage 3, Distraction. "Oh no, is that the dog getting into the trash?" Lily pointed toward the kitchen, eyes wide. Emily turned to look, cookie still in hand. It was instinct, automatic. And in that split second, Lily struck. She jumped, knocked the cookie from Emily's hand, caught it before it hit the ground, and ran. Emily chased her, obviously. Through the house, around the furniture, out into the backyard. Lily was fast for a 5-year-old, but Emily had longer legs. She caught up in the yard, grabbed Lily around the waist. But Lily had planned for this too. She'd already eaten half the cookie during the chase. She twisted in Emily's grip, somehow slipped out of her shirt entirely, just left Emily holding an empty t-shirt while Lily, in just her shorts and shoes, sprinted away laughing with the rest of the cookie shoved in her mouth. Emily stood there, holding her sister's shirt, half impressed and half furious. That was the thing about fighting Lily. She made you expect the unexpected. She never did the logical thing. She'd sacrifice position for a surprise attack. She'd take a hit if it meant landing a better one. She understood, even as a tiny kid, that the fight wasn't over until someone actually gave up, and she never gave up. Size didn't matter to Lily. Rules didn't matter. Fair fighting definitely didn't matter. All that mattered was winning, or at least not losing, which was basically the same thing in her mind. Emily learned to adapt. She learned to never assume a fight was over just because she had the advantage. She learned to watch for tricks, for distractions, for the unexpected move. She learned that sometimes the smaller, weaker opponent was actually more dangerous because they had nothing to lose and everything to prove. She learned to fight like she might lose, every single time. By the time Emily was 16 and Lily was 8, their fights had become legendary. The neighbor kids would literally sell tickets, 25 cents to watch the Brooks sisters go at it over whose turn it was to take out the trash. Their parents finally sat them down and said enough was enough. No more fighting in the house. No more fighting where things could get broken. If they had to fight, take it outside, use the wrestling mat Dad had bought, and at least try to avoid the hospital. The fighting became sparring. The sparring became training. And Emily realized that her annoying little sister had accidentally taught her more about real combat than any martial arts class ever could. Because Lily fought to win, not to look good doing it. Instructor Vax didn't believe her. That much was obvious from the way his 4 eyes kept narrowing every time Emily tried to explain about Lily. He'd nod politely, make that clicking sound with his mandibles that meant he was thinking, but Emily could tell he thought she was either lying or confused about what real combat training looked like. So 3 days after the arena incident, he called her into his office. "Cadet Brooks," he said, gesturing to a chair that was designed for someone twice her size. "I have been considering your claims about your training." "They're not really claims, sir," Emily said, climbing into the chair. "It's just what happened." "Yes. Well." Vax pulled up a holographic display. "I have arranged a test. Tomorrow, in the main arena. You will face Team Apex." Emily felt her stomach drop. Team Apex? The guys who won the Inter-Academy Championship last year? The same. 5 cadets who have trained together for 4 years. They operate as a single unit. Their coordination is flawless, their tactics are textbook perfect, and they have not lost a simulation in 8 months. Vax leaned forward. "If your unconventional training is truly effective, you should be able to hold your own. If not, well, we will know that as well." Emily wanted to argue, but she recognized a no-win situation when she saw one. Say no, and everyone would think she'd been lying. Say yes, and she'd probably get absolutely destroyed in front of the entire academy. She thought about what Lily would do. Lily would say yes, then immediately start planning how to cheat. "Okay," Emily said. "I'll do it." The next day, the main arena was packed. Word had spread fast. The weird human girl who claimed her baby sister taught her to fight was going up against Team Apex. Half the cadets came to see her prove herself. The other half came to watch her fail spectacularly. Emily stood on one side of the arena, doing some stretches. On the other side stood Team Apex, 2 Krants, a Thorian, a Velix, and a Dreth. They wore matching tactical armor and moved with the kind of synchronized precision that came from years of training together. They even breathed in rhythm, which was creepy but also impressive. Vax's voice boomed across the arena. "Standard combat simulation. Non-lethal weapons only. Fight continues until one side cannot continue or surrenders. Begin in 30 seconds. Emily rolled her shoulders and tried to calm her racing heart. 5 against 1. Elite team. Trained together for years. This was insane. Then she remembered the time Lily had recruited their 2 younger brothers to gang up on her over who got the biggest slice of birthday cake. 3 against 1, ambush attack, no warning. Emily had still won that fight, though it had taken 20 minutes and cost her a lamp. The buzzer sounded. Team Apex moved immediately, spreading out in a perfect flanking formation. The Velix went high, using its speed to scale the arena wall. The Thorian moved forward as a shield, energy barrier up. The 2 Krants circled left and right while the Dreth held the center, coordinating everything. It was beautiful, really. Textbook tactical assault. Emily did something they absolutely didn't expect. She grabbed a handful of arena sand and threw it at the Thorian's face. It didn't do anything. The energy shield blocked it completely. That wasn't the point. The point was that nobody expected someone to do something that stupid in a real fight. The Thorian hesitated for half a second, confused about why anyone would waste energy on a useless attack. Emily used that half second to sprint not away from them, but toward the Thorian, sliding under its shield at the last moment. She popped up behind it, using its massive body as cover from the others. "What is she doing?" someone in the crowd shouted. "That's tactical suicide." But it wasn't. Because now the Krants couldn't shoot at her without hitting their own teammate. The Velix, up on the wall, had lost its angle. And the Dreth was calling orders, trying to get everyone to adjust to this weird move that shouldn't have worked. The Thorian spun around, faster than something that big should move. Emily was already gone, rolling to the side. As she rolled, she grabbed more sand, this time throwing it not at faces but at feet, making the ground unpredictable. "Childish tactics," the Dreth called out, disgusted. He was right. It was childish. It was exactly the kind of thing Lily would do, anything to make the other person frustrated, confused, off their game. Emily started making noises. Random, weird noises. A whistle here, a sharp laugh there, clicking her tongue. Not saying words, just sounds designed to be annoying and distracting. The Velix, dropping from above to attack, hesitated for just a moment, trying to figure out what the sounds meant. They meant nothing. That was the point. In that moment of hesitation, Emily wasn't where the Velix expected her to be. She'd moved again, this time grabbing a piece of training equipment and throwing it, not at anyone, just throwing it across the arena to make noise and draw attention. "She's not even fighting," a cadet yelled from the stands. "She's just running around." But she was fighting. Just not the way they expected. She was doing what she'd learned from years of fighting someone who knew all her moves, all her preferences, all her habits. She was being unpredictable. Random. Chaotic. Team Apex kept trying to regroup, to set up their coordinated attacks. Every time they got close, Emily would do something weird. She'd fake an injury, limping dramatically, then sprint at full speed. She'd make eye contact with one opponent while attacking another. She'd start talking mid-fight. "Hey, is that your commander up there? He looks disappointed," just to get in their heads. The Krants finally cornered her, or thought they did. They had her backed against a wall, energy weapons charged. Perfect position. No escape. Emily looked at them and smiled. Then she did something so stupid that the entire arena gasped. She closed her eyes. Just stood there, eyes closed, swaying slightly like she was listening to music. "Is she surrendering?" one Krant asked the other, confused. "Scan her. Check if she's injured or malfunctioning," the other replied. They moved closer, weapons lowering slightly, trying to figure out what was happening. That's when Emily opened her eyes and moved. She'd been listening, tracking them by sound, and the moment they came close enough, she struck. Not with power, she couldn't match their strength, but with speed and surprise. She got one weapon, tossed it away. Used the confusion to slip between them. The Thorian was coming from behind, but Emily suddenly dropped flat to the ground. The Thorian's momentum carried it forward, crashing into the Krants. It was messy. It was chaotic. It looked like Emily had no idea what she was doing. But somehow, she was still in the fight while Team Apex was getting frustrated, making mistakes, second-guessing themselves. The Dreth commander finally shouted, "Stop trying to predict her. She's random. Just overwhelm her with force." Smart advice. They rushed her all at once, coordination abandoned for brute force. Emily smiled. This was the moment Lily always won too, when the older, bigger, stronger opponent got frustrated and stopped thinking tactically. She waited until they were all committed to the rush, then dodged to the side at the last possible moment. 3 of them crashed into each other. The Velix overshot, hit the wall. Only the Dreth commander kept his cool, adjusting mid-attack. But Emily wasn't trying to win anymore. She was just trying not to lose. And there's a big difference between those two things. She kept moving, kept being annoying, kept doing random unpredictable things that made no tactical sense but somehow kept working. 20 minutes in, Team Apex was exhausted and furious. Emily was exhausted too, but she was used to this, used to fighting long past the point where her body wanted to quit. Finally, Vax called the match. "Enough. Stand down." The interview room was crowded. Emily sat at a table designed for someone twice her size, facing 7 instructors from different departments of the academy. Word about her fight with Team Apex had spread like wildfire through the station. She hadn't won exactly, but she'd lasted 20 minutes against the Academy's best tactical unit and made them look like confused amateurs in the process. Now everyone wanted to know how. Instructor Vax sat at the center of the panel, his 4 eyes studying her carefully. To his left was Commander Thex, a Velix whose species prided itself on speed and precision. To his right sat Professor Dan, whose people had written most of the textbooks on military strategy currently used across the galaxy. Cadet Brooks, Professor Dan began, her translator device making her clicking language into smooth English. We have reviewed footage of your fight approximately 4 to 7 times. We cannot identify your fighting style. It does not match any known martial art in our databases. That's because it's not really a style, Emily said. It's just how I learned to handle myself. Against your 6-year-old sister, Vax added, and there was still doubt in his voice despite what he'd witnessed. And my 2 brothers, Emily added. They're younger too. Jake's 9 now, and Tommy just turned 7. The instructors looked at each other. One of them, a crystalline being whose name Emily couldn't pronounce, pulled up a holographic file. Emily recognized it as her Academy application records. Your file says you have 3 younger siblings, the crystalline instructor said, its voice like wind chimes. We assumed this was simply biographical information. Are you saying all 3 participated in your combat training? Emily almost laughed. Participated? They were the combat training. Look, I don't think you understand what it's like growing up human, especially with siblings. Please explain, Professor Dan said, leaning forward with genuine interest. Emily thought about how to put it into words. Okay, so most human kids play rough. Like, really rough by galactic standards, I guess. We wrestle. We chase each other. We play games that are basically combat with rules. Tag, dodgeball, capture the flag. All of these are teaching us tactics and physical confrontation from the time we can walk. But these are games, Commander Thex said. Structured activities with rules. Sure, those have rules. But fighting with your siblings? No rules. None. It's not organized. Nobody's teaching us techniques. We're just figuring out what works through trial and error, and the errors hurt. Emily pulled up her own holographic display, showing pictures from her childhood. Her family at a park, at home, on vacation. In every picture, the kids were either in motion or looked like they just stopped moving. See, here's the thing about siblings. You're stuck with them. You can't just walk away when you're angry. You live together, eat together, share space. Everything becomes a competition. Who gets the last piece of pizza? Who sits where in the car? Who gets to use the bathroom first in the morning? Whose turn it is to pick what everyone watches on TV? Surely your parents established rules for such things, Professor Dan said. Oh, they tried. But when you've got 4 kids and 2 parents, and everyone's busy, things slip through the cracks. And when they do, you either figure it out yourself or you lose. Emily zoomed in on a picture of her and Lily, both of them muddy and grinning despite looking like they'd been through a war. Lily taught me the most because she was the first one. She's small, always has been, but she figured out early that small doesn't mean weak if you're smart about it. Emily stood up and started pacing, the way she did when she was thinking hard. The instructors watched her move, probably analyzing her body language. Lily pulls hair. She bites. She goes for pressure points, didn't even know that's what they were called until I got here. She learned by accident that hitting someone's funny bone makes their whole arm go numb. She learned that if you grab someone's ear and twist, they'll follow wherever you pull. She learned psychological warfare before she could spell the word. Psychological warfare? Vax repeated. From a child? Especially from a child. Lily knows exactly what makes me angry. She knows my insecurities. She knows what I care about. And she uses all of it. Emily counted on her fingers. She'll insult my cooking. She'll hide my favorite books. She'll tell me my hair looks bad right before I have to go somewhere important. She'll make faces at me across the dinner table until I snap. And when I snap, she's already ready for it because she made me snap on purpose. The instructors were taking notes now, their various appendages moving across data pads and holographic screens. Then Jake and Tommy got old enough to join in, Emily continued. Suddenly I'm not fighting one opponent, I'm fighting 3. And they coordinate without even meaning to. They're siblings, so they understand each other. They'll gang up on me, then turn on each other, then team up again. It's constant chaos. You were outnumbered 3 to 1, the crystalline instructor said slowly, in your own home. Regularly. Every single day. At breakfast, fighting over the cereal box prize. After school, fighting over the video game controller. At dinner, fighting over who got which chore. Before bed, fighting over who took whose stuff. And weekends? Weekends were worse because we were home all day. Commander Thex raised a thin limb. Did your parents not intervene? This sounds like a hostile environment. Emily shrugged. They did when things got too crazy. But they also figured we needed to learn to handle our own problems. My dad used to say that life doesn't have a referee, so we better learn to fight our own battles. My mom said as long as nobody needed stitches, we were building character. She pulled up another image, this one of their backyard. There was a clear dirt patch where grass no longer grew. That's our fighting spot. Wore the grass away over about 5 years. The neighbors used to complain about the noise until their kids started coming over to watch. Then they just accepted it. This is remarkable, Professor Dan said, making rapid notes. Your entire species trains its warriors from childhood, through familial combat scenarios, with no formal structure or supervision. We're not training warriors, Emily corrected. We're just growing up. The fighting is just part of it. We also play, laugh, help each other with homework, share secrets. But yeah, we fight a lot too. Vax spoke up, his deep voice thoughtful. This explains your tactics in the arena. You do not fight to look skilled. You fight to not lose. Exactly. Because losing to Lily means she gets to pick the movie, and she always picks the same princess movie we've all seen 100 times. Losing to Jake means he gloats for a week. Losing to Tommy means the youngest beat you, which is just embarrassing. The stakes are social, not survival, the crystalline instructor observed. But they feel like survival when you're a kid. And the fighting is real. The pain is real. The defeats are real. You learn quick or you keep losing. Emily sat back down, feeling tired from explaining what seemed so obvious to her. Look, I didn't learn to fight in some fancy dojo with a wise master. I learned at the dinner table, fighting over food. I learned in the back seat of the car, trapped in close quarters for hours. I learned in the living room, battling over the remote control. Every fight had real stakes, not life or death, but things that mattered to us as kids. 3 weeks after the interviews, Emily got the message she'd been half hoping for and half dreading. The academy was arranging a family visit as part of their cultural exchange program. In reality, she knew exactly what this was. They didn't believe her. They needed proof. The transport ship arrived on a Tuesday. Emily stood at the docking bay, nervous in a way she hadn't been even before fighting Team Apex. Her mom came through first, looking tired from the long space journey but smiling. Her dad was right behind, carrying way too many bags. Jake and Tommy burst through next, both of them talking over each other about the spaceship and the aliens and everything they'd seen. Then came Lily. She was wearing her favorite overalls, the purple ones with flowers on them. Her hair was in 2 pigtails that were already coming loose. She had a backpack covered in cartoon unicorns slung over one shoulder. She was sucking on a lollipop and looking around the docking bay with the kind of intense curiosity that usually meant trouble. When she spotted Emily, her face lit up. Emily barely had time to brace herself before Lily crashed into her with a hug that hit like a small missile. Behind them, Emily could hear the assembled cadets and instructors who'd come to observe. She could practically feel their confusion. This was the terrifying opponent who'd trained a combat specialist? Lily pulled back, looking up at Emily with those big green eyes that Emily knew could switch from innocent to devious in half a second. Is this your space school? It's so cool. Can I see your room? Did you bring me a present? Why are all these aliens staring at us? They wanted to meet you, Emily said carefully. Me? Why? Because I told them about our fights. Lily's expression changed, a grin spreading across her face that Emily recognized immediately. It was the grin that meant Lily had just thought of something either brilliant or terrible, possibly both. You told them about me beating you up. Lily said loudly, making sure everyone could hear. I didn't say you beat me up. That time I made you cry over the cookie? You bit me. Or when I locked you out of the house. Lily, you were 5. Or when I. Emily put her hand over Lily's mouth. Behind them, she heard someone in the crowd whisper, that small child did what? Instructor Vax approached, looking down at Lily with all 4 eyes. To his credit, he kept his expression neutral, but Emily knew he had to be thinking this was all a huge misunderstanding. Lily was tiny. She had a unicorn backpack. She was currently trying to lick Emily's palm to make her move her hand. You must be Lily, Vax said in his deep, resonant voice. Your sister has told us much about you. Lily finally freed herself from Emily's hand. Cool. You're really tall. Is that your normal color or did you paint yourself? Can you see in 4 directions at once? Do you eat regular food or space food? Emmy, why is he looking at me like that? He's just interested, Emily said quickly. Interested in what? In how we used to fight. Lily's eyes went wide, then narrowed with mischief. Oh. You want to see? She turned to Vax. Do you have a place where we can show them? This was a bad idea. Emily knew it immediately. But Vax was nodding, already gesturing toward the practice arena. We have a demonstration space prepared, if you are willing. Willing? This is gonna be awesome. Lily dropped her backpack, already bouncing on her feet. Come on, Emmy. Let's show them our game. 20 minutes later, the main arena was packed again. Emily's parents sat in the observation area, looking resigned. They'd seen this show before. The cadets and instructors filled the other seats, notebooks and recording devices ready. They were expecting a formal demonstration, maybe some light sparring. They were not prepared for what they got. Okay. Lily announced, standing in the center of the arena like she owned it. We're gonna play the Floor is Lava Tag Wrestling Debate Championship. Emmy, you remember the rules? Which version of the rules? Emily asked, already knowing this was going to be chaos. The space version. I just made it up. That's not how rules work. Rule 1. Lily shouted, ignoring her completely. The floor is lava except for the blue squares, but only when I say so. Rule 2. No pulling hair unless you're losing. Rule 3. Whoever can name the most planets wins bonus points. Rule 4. There are bonus points now. Emily said. Yes. Do you even listen? Rule 4. You have to argue about dinner while we fight. Rule 5. I get a head start because I'm smaller. Go. Lily took off running before Emily could respond. The crowd murmured in confusion. Emily sighed and chased after her. We're not having pizza again, Lily. We are having pizza. Lily shouted back, jumping onto one of the training platforms. Pizza is the best food. We had pizza 3 times last week. That's because pizza is perfect. Lily waited until Emily was almost close enough to grab her, then jumped to another platform. Mercury. That's one planet. I'm winning. That doesn't count, everyone knows Mercury. Emily followed, but Lily was already moving again. To the observers, it looked like complete nonsense. The 2 sisters were running around the arena, jumping between platforms, arguing about food, occasionally grappling for a few seconds before breaking apart. Lily would shout random rules. New rule, you have to hop on 1 foot. Or new rule, spinning counts as defense. And Emily would just adapt and keep going. But Instructor Vax was watching carefully. He saw how Emily tracked Lily's movements, how she anticipated the unexpected jumps. He saw how Lily would feint one direction then go another, how she'd use distraction and misdirection. He saw how Emily never assumed she knew what Lily would do next. Venus. Mars. Lily was shouting while hanging from a training bar, kicking at Emily below. I'm winning on points. That's not even a real rule. Emily grabbed Lily's leg, but Lily had somehow already twisted around the bar and was climbing up the other side. Everything's a real rule if I say it first. Jupiter. Ha. They crashed into each other on a platform, both of them grappling. To the untrained eye, it looked like a messy scuffle. But Vax saw the pressure points Lily went for, the way she used leverage despite being so much smaller. He saw Emily's defensive postures, the way she protected vulnerable areas while maintaining mobility. Tacos are better than pizza. Emily said, managing to pin Lily's arm. That's a lie and you know it. Lily somehow twisted free, using flexibility that seemed impossible. Pizza has cheese, sauce, toppings. So do tacos. But pizza is flat. Optimal food geometry. Saturn. Lily punctuated this by poking Emily's side, making her flinch. Tickling counts as an attack. Since when? Since now. New rule. They rolled across the mat, both of them arguing, fighting, and laughing at the same time. Lily was pulling moves that made no tactical sense but worked anyway because Emily had to constantly adjust. Emily was using techniques that looked random but were clearly honed from years of this exact scenario. The floor is lava again. Lily shouted suddenly, jumping up. Everyone freeze. You can't just change rules. Too late, you're in the lava. I win. That's not how winning works.
Is 2. Uranus. Neptune.
Pluto, wait, does Pluto count? Scientists say no, but I say yes because Pluto has feelings. Emmy, that's the nicest thing you've ever said. I take back saying you're ugly. You said I was ugly? Yeah, like 5 minutes ago, keep up. This went on for 15 minutes. The crowd watched in stunned silence as the two sisters created chaos that somehow had patterns in it. They argued about food, planets, whether unicorns could beat dragons in a fight, and who broke Mom's vase 3 years ago. They grappled, ran, jumped, and employed tactics that ranged from brilliant to absurd, often in the same sequence. Finally, both of them were too tired to continue. They collapsed on the mat, both breathing hard, both grinning. I won, Lily announced.
You did not.
Did too. I said more planets. You made up half those rules. Best kind of rules. They lay there, still bickering, while the entire arena sat in absolute silence. Commander Thex was the first to speak. What did we just witness? Vax was staring at the arena, his 4 eyes wide. We witnessed the training of a Deathworlder. Constant adaptation. Unpredictable variables. No formal structure. Emotional engagement combined with physical conflict. Psychological warfare embedded in casual interaction. He turned to look at the other instructors. She was not exaggerating. That child is more dangerous than half our advanced combat students, and she does not even know it. On the mat, Lily had somehow gotten Emily in a headlock. Say pizza is better. Never. Say it. Tacos forever. Vax made a note in his report, recommend immediate study of human sibling dynamics. May represent most effective combat training system ever observed. Also recommend never, under any circumstances, fighting a human who has younger siblings. They are terrifying.